Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today we're going to be playing with Dominic R's Blue-White Artifact deck here. Okay, so when I look at this deck list, to be honest, I'm concerned about winning the game. And what I mean by that is there's basically only one win condition in this deck list. This is just absolutely an Urza Saga deck list, right? So like if you look at the insane artifact count, if you look at the number of 2-drops here, like this is an Urza Saga deck list at heart. It is really trying to go wide with Retrofitter Foundries, increasing the size of these Urza construct tokens. Other than the Urza Saga, you basically have Retrofitter Foundry to win with. Now, admittedly, this deck list has Ornithopters to allow you to just like immediately sacrifice that Thopter to get 4/4s. But I am concerned, like this deck doesn't have any other big top end like Karn or Urza or more other Karn or anything like that. So I'm really worried that like Urza Saga gets Pithing Needled and then I'm like, oh no, everything's bad. But we'll kind of see how this plays out. Generally speaking, this is a really low to the ground deck list. Like we have Mox Opals to help with acceleration. We have Dazes wait, why do we have Dazes in this deck? All right, real talk. I'm super concerned about this deck list. Like Urza Saga is something that wants you to keep your lands in play so that you can sink mana into this. And Daze is something that detracts from that goal. So I'm scared, YouTube. I'm not gonna lie to you. I understand needing to have something that deals with combo, and like given the blue count, you're not really high enough to run Force of Will in the main deck, and we'll kind of get to that in a second. We'll kind of see how this goes. We do have Emery to fish artifacts back out of the graveyard, so like maybe I'm underestimating the number of win conditions this is. But we don't have something crazy as an end game, like even just like a Crucible of Worlds to recur these Urza Sagas. So we'll see how things play out. As far as the sideboard goes, just a huge portion of this is dedicated towards beating combo. We have the Force Negations, Force of Wills, Canonist, Torpor Orb, Dampening Sphere, Soul Guide Lantern. And then for fair matchups, we have EE, and we have Back to Basics for something wild like a Cloud Post matchup that we otherwise might not be able to handle. I don't think we can board this in very many matchups, though, because, you know, our main win condition is Urza Saga. It's pretty rare that I look at a deck list and go like, oh no, is this an 0/4 drop? And when I look at this one, I'm scared. Let me know if you think I'm overreacting and like this deck list looks fine. But I'm definitely worried that like Days returning lands to my hand is going to be bad with Urza Saga, and that I'm not going to have enough win conditions. But it may be that versus some control decks, just like spamming colorless servo tokens every turn is good enough, and I'm just wrong. I don't think I have too much else to say about this deck list. This is going to be one of these Wednesday videos that I sprinkle in because I'm so far ahead on recording. Don't get used to it. It's probably not going to happen in future months. I can't promise it, but I'll keep it going for as long as I have. I got pretty far ahead on recording as far as the holidays go. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, and if you're a regular, throw me a like before this begins. Liking and commenting are the easiest ways to support my content for free, and if you're really enjoying my content, please consider doing something to financially support me, like becoming a YouTube member to gain access to my Discord, or doing a donation deck list of your own. Let's battle. Is this a capable hand? I get turn 1 Emery, but it's not like this deck list has baubles. Keep? I don't know that I get to throw this back, but I don't feel good about this. Oh, it doesn't matter. We just lose. Oh, it's goblins. Never mind. We don't just lose on turn 1. Fantastic. All right. Opal. Welding Jar. Play the basic here to play around Wasteland. Play an Emery. I'm fine with letting the Vial tick up once to like get Emery action going. This is fine. Then next turn, I'll like Brainstorm. I guess play a Hope of Girapur and Prismatic Ending away Ether Vial. This is kind of what I was worried about in keeping this hand. Like, this is not, well, I played around that at least. This is not acceptable in terms of power level. Okay, Mog Fanatic is fine. Okay. So my opponent can Gem Palm Incinerator and Mog Fanatic away my Emery. That's fine. I didn't actually value this Emery very highly, so I'm good with that. Guess I Brainstorm. I Brainstorm lock myself here a good portion of the time. Yeah, there we go. I'll bury a Shadow Spear and put a land on top. Play land. Play Ornithopter to turn on Mox Opal. Play Esper Sentinel. And Prismatic Ending away this Vial. My hand has nothing going for it. Hand's quite bad. Like, I needed the Emery to hit, which is why I played it over Prismatic Ending on turn 1. To kind of make this hand acceptable. Esper Sentinel is also not going to draw any cards in this matchup. If I draw Urza Saga in 2 turns, it just gets wastelanded if my Tundra doesn't. Alright, whatever this is will be uncounterable. Pile Driver, sure. They've left up this, which makes me think Tarfire is something that exists in my opponent's deck right now. Am I just going to take out this Pile Driver? I don't really want to. I could take a decent amount of damage from it in some worlds. Sure. Let's just get it out of the way. I'll take my attack in for 1 point of damage. And equip this with a Shadow Spear next turn and hope to do something cool later. We're not doing anything cool now. Like, removing the Pile Driver there isn't particularly good, but it kind of helps me in scenarios where my opponent, like, plays a Haste Lord or something, and then just cracks in for a bunch of damage. I need to prolong this game by not taking early damage. Sure. Opponent intentionally not wastelanding me, just by the way. Throwing that out there. I want the damage in the air, or do I want a fatter Esper Sentinel? Take the fatter Esper Sentinel for this turn. I don't think my opponent accepts this trade here. Yeah. I thought not. And then in future turns, when the board stalls, I can just move this over to Ornithopter. Yeah, I don't really know how I win this game. Like, my opponent has nothing, but, like, this Wasteland just chilling here, playing around Urza Saga, means that I have no real way to win the game. I feel like my opponent will probably outgrind a Retrofitter Foundry most of the time. Okay, combat time. I'll take my 2. As expected. I'm at 20. No big deal. You're in damage still. Sure. You're going to try to take out my Esper Sentinel. And I will regenerate. I'm just going to, like, check, make sure there's no random can't be regenerated clause. Regenerate, Esper Sentinel. Alright, good stuff. Okay, and then that's all they've got. Would I trade Munitions Expert for Esper Sentinel on this board? Weird. I think I will. Or I will offer, rather. The Esper Sentinel is just so unlikely to draw me cards in this matchup. Okay, so my opponent accepts the trade. I gain some life in this process, and then my opponent can ping the Esper Sentinel to kill it. That is expected. Oh, that's not the ability I wanted to activate. Oh, I am in combat damage now. Which is why I got that default mode wrong. So I'll equip this to Ornithopter and pass the turn. My opponent's top decks are so much better than mine. They have, like, Ringleaders and Matrons and shit, and I have Retrofitter Foundry as my best draw. Oh, we're seeing an attack in. I mean, absolutely, like, I'll block and make you use resources to finish off an Ornithopter. Oh, just straight up a bluff? Okay, I mean, this is great. I'll go ahead and take my attack in for 1. Drop opponent to 15. And then I think I'll just pass the turn here. Yeah, that's not what my opponent is looking for here. Unless their last card is a Muxus. In which case, it's exactly what they're looking for. It was. It's very unfortunate. Alright. Like, I can make a 4-4, but let's just see if I die. I'm not immediately dead. But I probably die next turn when that Muxus gets to attack. Alternatively, my opponent can just get, wow, playing on the name, Trash Master. Oh, okay, they get a Masked Vandal instead. Sure. Oh, yes, absolutely. I sacrifice Ornithopter and make a 4/4 blocker. Hashtag onboard tricks. Oh, cool. Like, you can deal 1 to me directly with this. This is fine. I'll go to 23. Let's see. So I can untap this and then have 1 mana left over, which doesn't do anything. I am just going to go ahead and fetch a land out of the deck. I don't think it really matters what. Grab a basic. A Mox Opal. Equip this. Yes, just pass the turn here. Not really the beatdown anymore. The Mass Vandal in hand makes that, like, so awkward. I really need to leave back both things. Like, both this Construct token and the Retrofitter Foundry activation. Sure. Yep. My biggest problem here is, like, Caracas Muxus, redo that is, like, a thing that is very much on the table. I think my opponent is supposed to kill the Retrofitter Foundry here, rather than this Construct token. Actually, maybe that's not true. My opponent has a really neat line if they see it. With the Goblin Lackey. Yeah. The Muxus gets swole up to a 9/9. I make my chump blocker. So I think I need to chump block Muxus and hope that my opponent doesn't see the line of Caracas their Muxus back in response to this trigger. Okay. Play to your outs, folks. Play to your outs. I need opponent to get bored and wasteland my Tundra. Alright, I'm going to make a servo. I'm going to equip it and call that a turn. I've got other lines here. I think I like this one. Okay, now you bounce the Muxus. You could have done it without paying mana. It doesn't matter, I'm super dead here. Alright, so here's Muxus. I'll concede immediately to Sling Gang from this board state. Absolutely not going to beat that. I mean, this is exactly what I talked about in the intro, where, like, once my win condition is invalidated, I just, like, have so much trouble actually winning the game. I also think I have basically no sideboard cards for this matchup. Like, I'll play a Torpor Orb. I don't think I can really afford to play EE, because I take so much incidental damage from blowing up my own board, and the things that I really worry about from my opponent are higher CMC. Like, I'll board a Daze out, and then I just don't feel like I have good cards for the matchup. Like, I have to keep an Ether Spellbomb in my deck, because I just don't think the rest of these cards are good. Daze is so bad here. So bad. Like, because of Vile, because of Cavernous Souls, because of just, like, returning my land for Urza Saga. Okay. What does this hand do? That's awkward. It's bad against Wasteland. It's good if Torpor Orb is good. I'm gonna keep it. But just, like, overall not happy with this hand. I don't think it's bad enough to throw back, but this is an incredibly high variance hand. Like, I can absolutely just stick it to my opponent if they kept a hand that, like, requires an Ether Vial in order to work. Or, like, that's, like, all in on a Goblin Lackey. I think I'm going to be getting... That's probably my best possible draw, honestly. Absolutely. Absolutely what I wanted to see here. Alright. Grab Tundra. Play Urza Saga. Prismatic Ending Ether Vial. And then Pithing Needle Wasteland so that I'm not just dead to my win condition being shut off. Okay. It's kind of weird whether or not I just, like, want to try to Torpor Orb next turn, or whether I just start making constructs and trying to win the game. Alright. Yep. Counter spells are off. And Mog War Marshal, sure. Okay. That's a very awkward draw here. I think I need to play the Torpor Orb. Not thrilled about it, but I think I need to do it. I'll play an Ornithopter, and I think I'll pass the turn here. I will probably Brainstorm at the end of my opponent's turn, mostly because my hand and mana is incredibly awkward right now. Sure. And I get aggressive quickly, that's the good news. Make an Urza Saga Construct token, fish out Retrofitter Foundry, turn on Ornithopter into a 4/4. Crater Maker's very good. Opponent fucked up, though. They absolutely should have cracked this fetch land first, so there's no opportunity for me to cast something like a Swords to Plowshares in response to a fetch land. Do the little things right if you play a deck like Death and Taxes and Goblins. You get so punished when you don't. Now, I don't have the punish here. But if I did, oh baby. Okay, what do I want of these? They will only take 2 of them. So what don't I want? Flooded Strand, probably. Yeah, probably don't want the Flooded Strand. I'll draw. Put these on the stack. Activate an Urza Saga. Make a large construct. I can absolutely just fucking punish my opponent here. And get another Pithing Needle and just Pithing Needle Goblin Crater Maker. Let's do that. Goblin Crater Maker. Nice. Play Snow Covered Island. I will immediately just cast this Brainstorm. Sure. Yeah, you wanna Pyroblast me? I literally do not care about this Brainstorm. Yes. Okay. Yep, Lackey's fine. I don't even need to remove that right now. Another land is my draw. That's fine. So I get a 6/6. I think it's just Retrofitter Foundry time. Welding Jar isn't crazy either. Honestly, a Mox isn't that bad either, just to turn on Prismatic Ending this turn. But I don't think that's super necessary. Outside of some crazy Meltdown caliber card, it should be fine. Yep, that's needled. Trashmaster is very good. Okay. Why? Opponent is playing this insane fucking game of chicken right now, where I think they're trying to bait me to activate this so they can get rid of both of my things pre-blockers. I will absolutely not just buy into that. I will just kill your, or rather attempt to kill your Goblin Lackey here. And then I'll force you to junk a token to destroy this. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you could have connected with the Lackey this turn, which matters if that card is good. I'll take this damage. Okay. You can blow up this construct. Fine. I will turn Ornithopter into a 4/4. I am so surprised my Retrofitter Foundry is still alive. What's my line here? Do I maximize the Retrofitter Foundry? Prismatic Ending is really awkward right now. In that, like, if I use it as a removal spell, my opponent just, like, sacks something to Trash Master. I'll leave this back defensively. Oh, Emery doesn't mill currently because Torpor Orb. It's fine, though. I just, like, recur Ornithopter in this Retrofitter Foundry if it gets blown up. Yeah, that's fine. I think I'm just going to kind of, like, chill here. And just kind of hope that I outplay my opponent. Okay, good. Caracas would have been awkward for me. Okay, what is this destroying? Is destroying a Torpor Orb. Okay. You have, like, a Matron here or something? A Ringleader. Sure. It's a lot of food. Okay, they only get a Chieftain for their troubles. It's fine. I get to just return the Torpor Orb on my turn. Also just good with that. Why? I'll take this block. Then my opponent will just sacrifice this to destroy this. Okay, as expected. I'll take my 3 damage. And I'll make my servo end of turn. You're gonna blow up my Retrofitter Foundry yet? Nope. Guess pulling it up becomes awkward with Emery in play. Okay, land. Okay. I think I take a turn to just play the Torpor Orb rather than go for the immediate Ornithopter shenanigans. I can grind pretty well right now. There's the Chieftain that I knew about. Okay. So that does not... Like, sacrifice your Ringleader, blow up Torpor Orb, get this trigger, blow up my Emery. And then... Never mind. Alright, my spirit is broken in round 1 of this league. Do I want to block 2 things, or do I just want to, like, block and then create a Thopter? Probably want to block 2 things. Alright. Let's just soak up this sweet damage here. It takes 6. I'm still in trouble. Let's brainstorm and see if I can draw something reasonable. Not really. I think I'm going to lose this game, despite the actions that my opponent is taking. Alright. I make an Ornithopter. I make an Esper Sentinel. And then I'll kind of leave it to my opponent here. Okay. So if my opponent sends it all, I have to make another creature prior to this happening. And end up going to 2. I can't do my absolute Ornithopter shenanigans. Alright, make my creature. Have to throw everything in front of the bus here. Go to 2, and then my brainstorm has to be good. Yep. Alright, this has to be good. Swords to Plowshares. I only cast one of these white spells. So it will be Swords to Plowshares. Very Opal Ending. I think I have to do this right now with this timing. Past this. With this timing, Swords to Plowshares, Trash Master, see how my opponent reacts. Kind of need them to mess up, I guess. I think I'm going to be exactly dead if they don't. What is this targeting? Okay, it's targeting the Retrofitter Foundry.
Think I'm going to be 1 mana short of staying alive?
I activate this, make 2 creatures, I die to a lethal attack. I make a 4/4, play Retrofitter Foundry, 1 mana short of making another blocker. Yeah, I think I'm dead anyway here. My opponent made a bunch of mistakes, and I just could not capitalize it. This is not going to be a good league, folks. Round 2 opening hand is really awkward. I have an Emery, which, as we've seen, doesn't really win the game. I have a Brainstorm, but if I keep Brainstorm, I would just be going like Island Pass, turn 2, Island Brainstorm, fetch, and I get rid of Opal, which is already a dead card. I'm not sure that this is better than just mulliganing and trying to find an Urza Saga hand with more gas. If this Brainstorm gets Thought Seized or countered, I'm straight up just dead. I'm gonna mulligan. Yes, absolutely yes. Keep. Pitch Swords to Plowshares, then be sad if opponent plays Ragavan. I have a bunch of disappearing mana sources. I'll pitch the Plains. I don't just want to be dead to Ragavan Pass. Okay. It's not Ragavan Pass, but it could have been. Alright, Saga. Foundry. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Okay, nice. It's resolved. Play a Mox Opal out. Call it a turn. I maybe should not have played that out for like prismatic ending reasons. Yeah. Esper Sentinel. Okay. So, new Saga. Play Spellbomb. This is my 3rd artifact, which turns on Mox Opal. Meaning that I can play an Esper Sentinel. There's actually a pretty respectable card here. Yeah. This is what this league is going to be. Back for 1. Back for 1, attempt to play around Stifle. And make a 1/1 with Retrofitter Foundry. Okay. Ooh, a Rug. Don't stifle me. Didn't get stifled. Plains. 1/1. Okay, opponent is going for a Lightning Bolt on my Esper Sentinel. And they're paying the tax. Yep. I'm gonna draw a card here. Got better options that exist for this turn. Such as hitting a new Esper Sentinel. Hitting an Urza Saga. Not great. Play a Pithing Needle out here. I'm gonna name Wasteland. My opponent only has 2 of those left, but I have so few win conditions in my deck that I think I need to proactively protect them. I think this is worse than playing out another Retrofitter Foundry and worse than converting this Dervo into a Thopter, but that's fine. I can Swords to Plowshares that. This is going to be a miserable matchup. Very cool deck. Very cool. Alright, I will get my beats on for a whopping 1 damage. We'll play another Retrofitter Foundry. And then maybe with a couple of these things can get cute, right? I just pay my 1 mana, turn the servo into a thopter, immediately turn this into a 4/4. You brainstorming? Yep, sure. Ugh. Just remember that I have dazes in my deck that I might draw. Yeah, fetch away. I'm gonna value making the 4/4 on their turn over immediately Swords to Plowsharing their arrow. They'll get 1 card deeper for a force, but I have double Swords to Plowshares. So I think that's okay. Sure. And that's no shuffle there. So at end step, I'll turn my servo into a thopter, and I will turn my thopter into a construct. An okay clock. A better clock with that. I need more mana than what I have. So let's try to get the arrow out of the way. Alright, there's the Force of Will. Please don't daze me. Okay, cool. I'll bash in for 4. Okay. How big is that? 6, 7. And Sylvan Library. Cool. Just absolutely do not have functioning amounts of mana right now. Ooh, okay. Sure. And now I can't pressure my opponent's life total while this Tarmogoyf is here. So my opponent gets to use Sylvan Library unchecked, find a new Uro. I think this game's over. Yeah, there. Yep. Cool. Okay, ponder away. This has absolutely tilted in favor of my opponent here. Like, I can derp around and grind with these Retrofitter Foundries, but like after being wastelanded multiple times and being taken off my primary win condition, it simultaneously kind of took me off my secondary win condition as well. My opponent started to do something there. And it looked like they were paying costs. So I'm afraid they have something like a Murktide Regent here as a follow-up. No, they're tapping a Taiga. Okay, they just have another Tarmogoyf, sure. God, and there's something else. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Just concede there. I think I have no ability to win this matchup. Not trying to be dramatic or anything, but on his deck, it just has so much higher card quality than mine. I need to take out these dazes. They're going to be dead a huge portion of the time for various reasons. Play a Soul Guide Lantern. I can do the back to basics gambit and say, like, you get no mana ever, and I'll find a way to win other than Urza Saga. Which basically means Retrofitter Foundry activations. That's rough. I think that's what I have to do. I think I also have to play this other EE as a way to take a potential Pithing Needle on either Urza Saga or Retrofitter Foundry out of play. Get rid of Hope of Ghirapur here. Hope of Ghirapur technically can be something that can be recurred as a chump blocker versus Murktide Regent, but I'm gonna keep this hand. Am I playing Saga on 1? It's kind of an awkward question. Sure. I'll treat my Emery as my endgame. Saga, Foundry, pass. Play Opal pre-days. Maybe I play Opal pre-days. If this gets countered, though, that doesn't matter. Alright, I'll play out the Opal now. I don't have Metalcraft, so I can't actually cast this card. I could attempt to play this hand slower and like Flooded Strand into Tundra and just like play a Retrofitter Foundry out on turn 1, but I think like this is exactly the shit I was talking about in the deck tech, where if Urza Saga is stopped, I have basically no ability to win the game. Like, I am considering just conceding the game right here on the spot. Like, a single Retrofitter Foundry isn't going to beat this, like, Tarmogoyf Murktide deck. Absolutely not. Yeah. I'll give it a turn cycle or two. I think I'll concede once my opponent puts a threat into play. A Pithing Needle really doesn't do anything now. Like, I don't care about Wastelands anymore. I'm gonna fetch and see if I get stifled here. Did not. Grab this. Play Pithing Needle. Opponent fetches. I will probably just rename Scalding Tarn anyway. I'm gonna do that over naming a new fetch, because Life from the Loam is a thing that could reasonably exist in my opponent's deck list. Yep, that's fine. Okay, sure. Yep, that's fine. I mean, it's not really fine, but, like, you have it. Shadow Spear. Do I save EE and see if I can get a second Tarmogoyf out of it? Probably. At 4 mana, I can just, like, block Tarmogoyf, turn it into a Thopter, untap, sack, get a 4/4. Yeah, that's fine. I can fetch around a Stifle here, grab an island, and just pass my turn here. Okay, Ragavan. Card's obnoxiously good. Right, opponent figured out what was up and didn't bother attacking with the Tarmogoyf. I sacrifice a servo. I untap this. I turn it into a 4/4. Okay. Need 2 mana to make a new chump blocker, meaning I can still just play out a Shadow Spear. Rough. Now I'm just chilling here. I cannot go on the offensive while my opponent has a Ragavan on the other side of the table. That is just, like, not at all viable. Okay. This is the sort of scenario where I was hoping for. I'll be, like, comfortable getting a 2-for-1 out of my EE. Oh, yeah, especially since I have another. Alright. EE for 2. Going to resolve since my opponent has 1 card. Go ahead and immediately crack that. Is this my Mox Opal turn? I think this is my Mox Opal turn. I just keep this. Now I can attack for 4. And I have a blocker for Ragavan, even if my opponent uses a removal spell on this servo. I just convert the servo into a Thopter, and I'm good to go. God damn it. We're done. We're done. Hey, you. Yeah, you. You subscribed to my YouTube channel yet? You are? Great. That's good. Some of you out there, you're not. You're watching my content. The algorithm is just feeding me to you, and that's fine too. But if you want to find me again, consider subscribing. Okay, back to the show. Okay. Here's what I mean about days being bad in this deck. Right? Like, if I daze, I'm not developing my mana, making Urza Saga better. If I keep this hand and my opponent plays around daze, this hand does nothing. I can't cast Esper Sentinel. No. How about this one? Okay. Oh, I guess keep this. I get to just play a Pithing Needle on turn 1 or 2 and just, like, play around Wasteland for the rest of the game, presuming I end up finding something. I maybe end up Brainstorming Lock myself if I don't, like, put myself in a position to, like, Emery mill off the cards that I brainstorm back that I don't want. Okay. You're playing against a blue deck of some kind. Do I straight up just, like, name Pithing Needle on 1 and, like, maybe be wrong about Wasteland being a thing that exists in my opponent's deck? I think so. Like, the worlds where I end up winning are worlds where Urza Saga works. Underground Sea. I'm less likely to want to name Wasteland now. Now, like, we start getting into, like, Street Wraith, Wishclaw, Talisman sort of situations. Grizzlebrand? Hey, Grizzlebrand. I'm going to play out this Mox Opal. Probably the most valuable card in my hand here if my opponent hits me with a discard spell. Okay, it's not Entomb. My opponent could just be playing some fair deck like Grixis or something, where like I should have named like Jace the Mind Sculptor or something. Okay, we'll probably find out within 1 to 2 turn cycles whether my opponent is playing a fair or unfair deck. So something like a Baleful Strix here would be indicative of fair. Okay, they're playing fair. I kept the Emery, which is good. So I can Retrofitter Foundry, which turns on Mox Opal. And that allows me to cast a 1 mana Emery. And this Emery gives me some ability to grind. The Emery has to hit something in order to be good, though. Like, if it's just Emery returning Shadow Spear, it's not good. Okay, the Emery is not good. Like, I can do 2 mana recursive Emery stuff, but, like, it's not even baubles that I can just, like, do for free and get a card draw out of it. I'm also just probably going to eat some stupid removal spell on this Emery here. Actually, opponents started tapping black, which would be something like a Fatal Push, but they didn't play a fetch land, so maybe there's hope for me yet. Okay, my opponent is pondering. And no shuffle. Sure. What are we looking at? Yeah, absolutely take my Source of Plowshares. Bolt, Pyroblast in the main deck. Sure. Ah, Daze is here. If my opponent just like jams a Jace to the Mind Sculptor into this Daze this turn, I'll shut the fuck up. But alright, yep. So Daze not looking great here. Situation not looking great. Why? I take my attack for 1 here. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely fine with opponent trading. Call against command around a Daze would be pretty debilitating. Yep. Okay. I mean, let me tap 2 mana and counter this Jace the Mind Sculptor. I need it. Morale is 0. Oh my god, it's happening. This doesn't get to happen again, right? Like, this is the one time that this is going to happen in this league, because, like, now this player... God damn it. Alright. I think I concede this game if my next draw isn't good. Like... actually, I have 2 Pithing Needles in this deck. I guess that's not true. Okay. Fetch. In the deck. End of turn, make a 1/1 that is not good enough to pressure Jace effectively. Yep. Sure. I don't win from multiple turns of active Jace. Like I just have no pressure here. Yeah. I can maybe beat a Jace activation, but when we start getting to 2 or 3, it's just like not realistic for me to come back from that. Esper Sentinel. That does not do it. Absolutely does not do it. Shouldn't have played that pre-combat. I've sort of accepted that I'm dead here. Alright, yeah, sure. Trade the Strix away for the servo. 2 black mana end of turn. Fatal Push, sure. So my opponent is just paying the tax with that. That's fine. And then, like, this is not a real legacy threat. Retrofitter Foundry didn't see play before Urza Saga, except in, like, one, like, niche deck. Like, it saw play in ninjas. But that's because, like, you have 8 thopters that you can just immediately sacrifice. Alright. Tutor. Okay, command. Destroy this, make me discard a card. Yeah. Goodbye, Opal. Okay, I think I'm gonna take my draw step and concede. Well, alright. Alright. Take a loyalty off of Jace. Begrudgingly continue this game. Alright. See, really, we're playing towards the game 3 timeout. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Clear the brainstorm. Wonder if I play back to basics versus this opponent just as a way to Mize wins. Okay. Don't really think Crux is a playable legacy card, but as I am not playing a playable legacy deck, it will beat me here. I will concede. Yeah, I don't have sideboard cards for this matchup. I will play 2 back to basics and then try to do something else. Play a Soul Guide Lantern to eat a Croxa and 1 EE for like Baleful Strix and shit. Sure. Aether Spellbomb's actually probably really bad as a whole. Get the second EE in there for that. This hand has no way to win the game. That's a mulligan. Ah. The back to basics Urza Saga Emery hand. Absolutely. Sure. Okay. Cool. This back to basics is going to be a late gameplay, not an early gameplay. Planes go. Like, I can play the Tundra to try an early brainstorm, but if I want to set the back to basics up to potentially be good, I have to do this differently. We're gonna get Thought Seized. No, my opponent's gonna ponder. That's fine. Alrighty. We've got a plan. There's some really weird worlds that can happen here. Love to just draw a basic land here. An Ornithopter. Sure. Tundra. I think I am supposed to play this Ornithopter out to play around a Plague Engineer on Construct, as weird as that sounds. Brainstorm. I need to exhaust these Urza Sagas and then try to win this game with the back to basics when I already have a creature on board. Like, my opponent still has 7, now 8 cards in hand. I know they have Pyroblasts in their deck. I know they have both Force of Wills and Force of Negation, so I really have to sandbag this. And I need to be ahead when I cast this, because there's some scenarios where, like, I cast this and then my opponent, like, just has a Planeswalker or a Kroxa or some shit in play already. Sure. I'll do end of turn Urza Saga here. Got my 2/2. Ooh, we are getting movement. Now they for some reason decide to do the basic swamp. I get K commanded. Hope my opponent doesn't have Blood Moons. There's so many non-basics. They didn't fetch any last game. Okay, they're just taking out both of my creatures. Sure. Okay, Swords is not a good draw. Make my construct. Now, what am I doing with this? Opal? So I can play Emery? I think I'm good with that. Play Urza Saga. Oh, fuck. I don't have Metalcraft. This deck sucks. More generally, I do not mind having the Opal, because if I play this back to basics, I do have, like, some realistic mana needs. But that was a short-term misplay. Like, I could have gotten an Opal off this second Urza Saga. Okay. That's a nuisance. I am going to brainstorm. There's... I need to do this brainstorm. It fucking sucks if my opponent Pyroblasts this, though. God damn it. Yep. I'm, like, very clearly falling behind, though. And I think I needed to just, like, play to the world where I could filter, get an Emery going, or, like, actually make my land drop. I don't know. If my opponent Pyroblasts that, they're not Pyroblasting this back to basics that I'm hoping to win the game with in another couple of turns. So, like, there's that. Ugh. I've also, like, given my opponent, like, absolutely no reason to suspect. Like, cool, alright. GG's. We're done. Absolutely done. Island, Ornithopter, Opal, Emery, concede the game when Emery doesn't hit anything relevant. Sounds good. Oh, okay. Opponent is probably playing unfair. Joke's on you, my hand's terrible. Thoughtseize does nothing. That's not actually true, though. If they take one of my artifacts, I can't Emery on turn 1. Took an ending. Okay. We're playing against Pox? No. Okay, we're playing against Turbo Depths. Okay. Opal, Ornithopter, land, Emery. Emery finds nothing relevant. Good game. I think opponent crop rotates twice over 2 turns and I die. Yeah. Well, they do have to Sajiri step in order... Well, no, that doesn't give protection from colorless. I guess I can recur an Ornithopter forever. Can't get this Esper Sentinel out of the graveyard. I don't have white mana. Okay. So this prismatic ending is probably important. So let's target an Ornithopter here. Play this Ornithopter. This gives me Metalcraft. Go 1 white mana. Prismatic ending away the Elvish Reclaimer. And then my opponent will rotate one of their lands, probably the Urborg into stage. Or, sorry, into depths. Oh, they're just going for an Urza Saga instead. Sure. And now I think I need to play a new Emery in attempts of, like, putting something more reasonable into the graveyard. Okay, Pithing Needle qualifies as more reasonable. Hey, I can just, fucking Pithing Needle Urza Saga. That's what my deck wants to do, right? Yeah. Ah, fuck. I hate everything. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I Pithing Needle my own win condition again. My opponent copies it with Aspian Stage and gets one with a different name. Okay. They are, excuse me, they are taking their construct. I name Urza Saga. Very, very begrudgingly. Okay. The opponent will still get to, like, tutor a new Mox Diamond or maybe a Retrofitter Foundry off of this. Also see if they just Thespian Stage copy it. Alright, they're floating mana. Okay, they Pithing Needle Emery. Now, they Thespian Stage my Urza Saga. I can't really win this game anymore. Like, I've shut off my win condition. Their Thespian Stage is still alive. It's going to beat me. They can also just assemble Merit Lodge at any point. Yeah, I take 3. Puts me to 17. Like, I'm healthy in terms of life total, but just very dead in terms of, like, outlook for this game, I think. Like, maybe my Urza Saga will save me if my opponent doesn't copy my Urza Saga. Oh, cool. I am just going to fetch now and remove a planes from my deck. 1 damage. I am trying to stay positive this league, but this is absolutely a disaster. The likes of which haven't been seen since that Modern Guild Gates video where I tried to play a fun deck and then got Blood Mooned 4 rounds in a row. Yep. I will take the 3 damage here. Okay. We're gonna make a green mana here. On its paying costs on something. Crop rotation. Okay. Okay, I'm alright. So my opponent will make a Merit Lodge. I will get the second Pithing Needle out of my deck. Pithing Needle, Sylvan Safekeeper, and give them 20 life to answer this. Obviously not where I want to be. And, does Aether Spellbomb just work better here? That doesn't give my opponent 20 life. Yeah, I probably can't give my opponent that life if I just need to beat them down with Retrofitter Foundry tokens at some point. Okay. Lords to Plowshare, Sylvan Safekeeper. Opponent is targeting the Sylvan Safekeeper. Fine. They don't have any lands left. So then I will bounce your Merit Lodge. And I ended up destroying an Urborg for my trouble. I attack for 1. It kind of sucks that I had to, like, use my second Urza Saga in order to, deal with that whole situation, because I really needed that to get me a Retrofitter Foundry. Alright. Yep. I'll keep attacking with this. Once the Shadow Spear is on it and my opponent starts gaining a bunch of life, it's not really realistic for me to just, like, beat them down anymore. So here's to hoping they just, like, draw some Thoughtseizes or some shit. Pithing Needle Resolves. Good. What are you naming? Probably something that won't be in my deck. Actually, if they know to name Retrofitter Foundry, I think I just have to concede. Right? Because, like, once Urza Saga and Retrofitter Foundry are off, I am left with literally just Emery beats. I concede to Retrofitter Foundry being named. Okay, great. Still alive. Take 5. I have to start thinking about chump blocking soon. Prismatic Vista. No. Not what I'm looking for. Crash in. Don't think I get to thin the land out of my deck here. Like, my individual points of life are very precious. 6/6. Die for attacking with Emery here. I just get trampled over for 4. Or what if I double block with both Ornithopters? Then I take 3. Yeah, that keeps me alive. I don't get to fetch with Prismatic Vista. I don't think I can beat the trample here. Kappa. Alright, play Float a mana. I don't think I have anything that allows me to just beat this Shadow Spear. I've already used my Spell Bomb, so I can't bounce this token with it. Yet multiple Retrofitter Foundries active. Yeah, I concede. Alright. Again, my sideboard seems like it sucks. I have to play Force of Will effects. I don't know. Like, I guess I can play some EEs. I guess I can play some Back to Basics for if I get ahead. These Force of Wills are, like, very hard to use effectively, I think. And like the Force of Negations are gonna miss the Elvish Reclaimers. And it's not like I have a good win condition, so that if I just like Force of Will one spell, I can just aggro my opponent out. I just don't. Mulligan. Absolute mulligan. This hand has Emery. This is going to be another one of those hands where if Emery misses, I just immediately lose the game on the spot. I guess I technically have like Caracas to bounce Emery. Is this better than a hand that plays Urza Saga on turn 2? I don't think so. I think I just have to mulligan and try to like run my opponent over with an Urza Saga. I'll keep this one. EE goes back. I'm not sure. Like, I don't have the mana for Swords to Plowshares right now, so I should probably keep Emery and the 2 Retrofitter Foundries, but it's, like, not feel good. It's also a question of, like, do I just play the Urza Saga on turn 1 and hope to spike an Opal, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to do this and play Urza Saga, Retrofitter Foundry, Emery on turn 2 and hope that gets me somewhere. Again, the Emery not being able to, like, recur something free like Baubles, though, is pretty rough. Okay, please don't name Urza Saga. Okay, cool. Still alive. Urza Saga. 1 mana, Hope of Girapur. 1 mana Emery. And, yep. That Mox Opal is, like, actually not that bad, honestly. And I can do the whole, like, Hope of Girapur thing as well. Yep. Okay, opponent did not bounce my Emery for some reason. Thankful. So let's fish this Mox out of my graveyard. You fucking serious right now? I'm going to lose to someone who just surgically extracted this Moxen rather than just, like, indefinitely bounce my Emery. I can't keep dedicating value to the Emery. Alright. Alright, I don't get an Urza Saga token because that play somehow was good. Well, I mean, like, it wasn't really good, right? Like, you know. Yeah, sure. I'll replay it. I'll play a Shadowsphere. Alright, your Urza Saga ticks up. You can probably make a land drop and make constructs, whereas I can't. I will cry myself to sleep. I have to float my mana here. And my opponent will make their construct in response. I probably begrudgingly have to Pithing Needle my primary win condition again, because otherwise, like, these 2 constructs are just going to beat me. This is awful. Retrofitter Foundry is junked. Honestly, I think I'm just done with this league at this point. Like, this is not a legacy deck that we're playing. It's just not. I mean, overall thoughts on the deck list, it doesn't work. Like, the Dazes are bad when you're trying to commit mana to Urza Saga. And when you have a bunch of lands that you're going to start with that don't cast it. So, like, we have 4, 5, 6, 7 lands that we can start with that don't cast Daze. The Mox Opals were bad because we didn't have enough artifacts to turn them on consistently. The Ornithopters are bad because you're playing Ornithopter in your deck, and I think just trying to, like, cheat a 4/4 into play is not good enough to win current games of Legacy, when things like Murktide Regent and Ragavan are just, like, so much more objectively powerful than it. It's hard to cast Prismatic Ending for more than X is 2 in this deck because Mox Opal isn't consistently on. There's a bunch of tutor targets in here, like Aether's Ballbomb and Hope of Girapur, that don't really win games of Magic. And the deck doesn't have enough win conditions. Coupled with that, you don't have a high enough blue count in the deck to play Force of Will in game 1, so 6 of your sideboard slots are eaten up by that. When you bring them in, you don't actually have enough blue cards to consistently pitch to them, and 6 of your sideboard slots are eaten up by that, so you don't have good sideboard things and matchups, and Back to Basics cripples our own deck. I'm out. I'm done. If you enjoyed my misery, leave me a like. If you didn't, we'll be back tomorrow with something more reasonable. See ya.